Okay, so number 8 on your table of contents is basic ratio with division. And then turn to that page and give it a title. Okay, so today, to begin, we're going to take a look at a ratio of 60 to 140. The question we want to answer today is, what is the basic ratio? So yesterday and then earlier today when we looked at that homework problem, we discovered we had to find a basic ratio. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So when we are dealing with big numbers, like 60 and 140, we need to find the greatest common factor, or GCF. So greatest common factor, I know we mentioned it last year, but I don't know if you remember. Raise your hand if you remember greatest common factor. Okay, all right. So I'm going to show you a trick to find it. So if you have two numbers, so 60 and 140, what you're going to do is list some ways to make that number and then figure out the greatest factor. So, for example, I know if I look at 60, it's even, so I know I can do 2 times 30. I'm going to keep breaking these numbers apart until I have prime numbers. Prime numbers only have 2 factors, 1 and 2. Itself. Yes, 1 in itself. I heard a couple of you guys. So 2 is prime, 30 is not. I know 2 times 15 is 30, and I know 15 is not prime, so I could do 5 times 3. To find the greatest common factor for 60, or no, so then I list the prime numbers. So 2 times 2 times 5 times 3. These are all prime. Then I come over here and I do the same to 140. 140 is even. I know 2 times 70 is 140. 2 is prime, 70 is even, so I need to break it apart. I know 7 times 10 is 70. 7 is prime, 10 is not. I have to break it apart. I know 5 times 2 is 10. So now I'm listing the factor, or the prime factorization of 140. 2 times 7 times 5 times 2. Then I'm going to look at my list and I'm going to circle the ones in common. Okay? So there's a 2 here, there's a 2 here, there's a 2 here, there's a 2 here. There's a 5 and a 5. There's no 3 or 7 in both lists. So these 3 numbers are in both lists, so I'm going to multiply them. And 2 times 2 is 4 times 5. What does that give me? 20. So I know that GCF, or greatest common factor, is actually 20. So that's just a little trick to figure that out. Once I figure out the greatest common factor, then I can figure out the basic ratio. So this is how I do that. Let me see if I can adjust the camera. Maybe if I do that. Okay. All right, so to find the basic ratio of 60 and 140, you're going to make a ratio table. So 60 and 140 are big numbers, and in a ratio table, the big numbers are on the bottom, right? So I'm actually going to put them on the bottom. 60 to 140. So I'm kind of imagining that there's a table, and those two large numbers are at the bottom. So then I'm going to just divide until I can't divide anymore. So I'm going to show you a couple things. If I know my GCF is 20, I could be done in one step. So if I divide this side by 20, I have to divide this side by 20 because it's a ratio table. 60 divided by 20 is 3. 140 divided by 20 is 7. 3 and 7 are prime, right? So my basic ratio is 3 to 7. That's easy, isn't it? Now let's say if I don't know my math facts, if I can't look at those numbers and know 20 goes into them, or if I forget how to do this little trick, let me show you what else you can do. So I'm going to go to the next page. I'll put it back in a minute if you need it. So I have 60 to 140. Again, I'm going to use a ratio table. My big numbers are on the bottom. Now I need to divide by some number, and let's say I just don't know my math facts, or my brain's gone dead or something. Well, both of these end in a 0, so I know they're even. If they're even, I can divide by 2. 60 divided by 2 is 30. 140 divided by 2 is 70. Okay, 30 and 70 are both even. I can divide by 2 again. Or I could divide by what other numbers could you do? Kristen.
You could do 35 or wait.
Help him out, Jackson. 5. Remember if it ends in 0 or 5, 5 will go in evenly.
Yeah.
What other number? Emery. 10. So, but we could just do 2 if we didn't know, and we get 15 and 35. They both end in 5, so I could divide them both by 5. And then I would get 3 and 7. There's my basic ratio. Okay? So using a ratio table is one way to find your basic ratio. If you know your GCF, your greatest common factor, you won't have to do as much work. Okay? So, I know some of you still need this side, so I'm going to leave it up for you. And when you come to group today, make sure you bring your math pages and your math notes so that we can work on this. So tear out pages 33 and 34, and then you can move to your first rotation. 10 minutes again.